The status of offshore wind projects after the world's largest developer, Ørsted, announced 2 cancellations of its planned projects in New Jersey. This is a really big blow to both Governor Chris Smith's goal of developing 100% clean power in the state by 2036, as well as Biden's goal. It's really seen as the biggest setback yet for offshore wind in the U.S. and threatens to hamper their broader goal of reaching 30 gigawatts capacity by 2030.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by energy and environment reporter Breanne Deppisch. Breanne, there's something blowing in New Jersey going on with offshore wind. Talk a little bit about what's happening in the state of New Jersey.
Absolutely. Well, you could say, Jim, that there's actually a lack of things flowing, and
Right.
that would be the status of offshore wind projects after the world's largest developer, Ørsted, announced 2 cancellations of its planned projects in New Jersey. This is a really big blow to both Governor Chris Smith's goal of developing 100% clean power in the state by 2036, as well as Biden's goal. It's really seen as the biggest setback yet for offshore wind in the U.S. and threatens to hamper their broader goal of reaching 30 gigawatts capacity by 2030.
So you've mentioned the Biden administration's goal. There's been talk of there being this existential threat to their offshore wind goals. What might that threat be?
Absolutely. So I've talked to a bunch of folks who explained that this threat has really, the industry's seen it for a long time coming. It's sort of news to us,
Right.
Outside observers, but it's sort of described to me as a slow-moving train wreck, essentially. That's partially because of higher materials costs, which have soared as other countries try to build out their own wind energy projects, meet their own renewables goals, but also the lack of a supply chain in the U.S. and I think first and foremost, poorly negotiated planned purchase agreements, which states enter with project developers when they negotiate the terms of their project. These have actually more than doubled in recent years, just wildly underestimated the value of a megawatt hour of wind, which they're often negotiated in, and really have sent costs skyrocketing to the extent that, really has threatened a lot of planned capacity in the U.S. And forced, I think it was as many as 2.6 gigawatts of offshore wind power to come offline in the last 6 months alone.
That really must be taking the wind out of the Biden administration's sails.
Yes, I think it would be.
So we've been doing a series here at the Washington Examiner. Now everybody's obviously very focused on, if maybe not excited about, the big elections that are happening next year in 2024. But there are a lot of elections that are actually happening in this calendar year, and we've been looking at some of those. And there's always something big going on in Texas, big energy news there. Walk us through that.
Absolutely. So as a native Texan, it is my duty to do. But there was a pretty interesting proposal up for vote on Tuesday, November 7th.
Yes.
Cut that part out. Anyways, so on Tuesday, Texans will head to the ballots to vote on Proposition 7. It's actually one of 14 measures that they'll be voting on, but it's actually almost the entirety of the funding. It's a $10 billion effort that would basically give the Texas utility operators the ability to act as a bank and sort of offer new loans to guarantee baseload capacity for fossil fuel plants like natural gas plants and everything like that. This is to avoid a situation like the 2021 Winter Storm Uri, which killed 246 Texans and caused power outages for millions. Certainly a really devastating storm. But it's interesting because a lot of people have had issues with it. And actually, some of these people are the owners of natural gas plants themselves, who testified earlier this year before the legislature when they were considering a similar bill that they don't actually need or want to add more gas-fired plants online in Texas. They already have a lot of capacity. The real issue is weatherizing these plants, right? That's making sure this power can come online when it's extremely cold, extremely hot. Those are the issues that ERCOT's having. So whether or not this sort of $10 billion effort can achieve its intended goal remains to be seen. I think the other really crucial part of that, and this is something that's generated really wholehearted, unified support, is the smaller 18% funding, which is actually towards microgrids. These are smaller grids that come online in the event of a power crisis or an outage. They fund schools, hospitals, just emergency things like that.
Sure.
But by generating, keeping these facilities online in emergencies, utilities can actually use the available power that they would have directed there to residents and really just free up. It's sort of like a domino effect, as one of my sources explained, really helping free up a lot of power and hopefully, adding capacity to the grid at a time when they would really need it most.
So microgrids, better than microaggressions.
Yes, that's very true.
Thank you, Breanne.
Thank you, Jim.
You can read Breanne and subscribe to our Daily on Energy newsletter at washingtonexaminer.com.